Hey everybody, welcome to our new podcast show. This is my good friend Wesley.
And this is my good friend Adam.
And today we're going to talk about why you have been lied to.
This is the truth about Australia.
So if you're unfamiliar with the history of Australia, the British fought over 160,000 convicts over to Australia, right?
I think it was like 162,000 or something close to that.
Something like that, yeah. So what actually happened was, I believe that the British government drowned these convicts. They didn't actually bring them to Australia.
Mm-hmm.
So the English didn't want to admit this, right? That wouldn't go over well.
Yeah, because, the rest of the world knowing that you drowned 162,000 convicts instead of sending them off to a mythical island that probably doesn't exist.
Yeah. So instead of them admitting, they likely just kept up with the lie. They said, yep, they're in this over in here in this fantasy land now.
Yeah. There's so much you could say that, there's Australians out there that, are native to the land and all that. Technically, if you think about it, Australians has the word aliens in it.
Yeah.
So maybe the British were just working with aliens and using the aliens as actors to,
Yeah. Or Australians are government agents for the British who are just keeping up with the lie and trying to keep people on the belief that Australia does exist, which it doesn't.
Yeah. And another thing you could say about, what about the wildlife in Australia?
Oh my God! Don't get me started.
Yeah, I know.
You see the spiders in Australia?
Yeah,
they're not real. Here's a picture of one on screen now. There is no way that is real. That is fake. It's either that's CGI or Photoshop.
Yeah, I mean, and how can spiders be that colorful?
They can't.
Usually, in the wild. Yeah, exactly. Usually in the wild and all that, you're trying to blend in with the environment. Those colors aren't going to make you blend in.
No, they're not.
Yeah, it makes no sense.
Think about it. Where else in the world have you seen spiders that big?
Exactly.
Yeah. And while we're at it, you ever seen a kangaroo? You ever just think they look odd? You know what I mean? They're just a weird animal.
Yeah.
I don't think they're a real animal.
Yeah.
I think that they're all people in suits or roboticized.
Fair. Because I know the Norwegians have been working with a bunch of robots and all that.
Yeah.
So maybe they've just been working with them before the rest of the world found out about them.
Yeah. You really think kangaroos can box?
Yeah, really? No. Boxing kangaroos? That's a human sport.
Any boxing kangaroo is a guy in a suit boxing.
Yeah.
There's been tons and tons of research on this.
Yeah, I mean, you can look at all the articles and stuff online. We got a lot of our stuff from Ohio State University and a couple of other websites such as Reddit. Yeah, we've also used Facebook too, right?
Yeah, we've used Facebook, and nobody can tell me that Facebook isn't a reliable source. I've never heard one person lie on Facebook. Same goes for Reddit.
What about world maps? I mean, there's a bunch of world maps that show you, every world map has Australia on there. Well, around the same time when the British were trying to, fool everybody and thinking that they actually brought all the 162,000 convicts to the Australia. But anyways, Britain most likely probably just forced and threatened all the cartographers in the world, and because the world was small at the time, it wasn't. Yeah. They were just.
This was the 1800s, right?
1700s, I think. Yeah, around late 1700s, I think, early 1800s, and we just moved over to the New World, or in the Americas as now, and it was a small world, so you can kind of contain everything a little bit easier, and so Britain most likely threatened all the cartographers to change all the world maps, and they probably burned all of the other world maps.
Either threatened them or paid them.
Yeah.
They probably paid them a large sum of money because, to this day, everybody believes Australia is real. You ever heard an Australian person's accent?
I have not.
Yes, you have, Wesley. What do you mean?
Yes, I have.
Yeah, an Australian accent is one of the most exaggerated accents I've ever heard. It's comparable to a Scottish accent. We all know Scotland isn't real, but that's for a different day.
You know how we've got inserted chips and all that now, where you can buy
biotechnology.
The biotechnology where you can buy stuff with a chip in your wrist and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what if like New Zealand, because they were really known for innovating technology and all that.
Yeah.
What if they just like inserted a chip into the Australians, into like the voice box or something like that?
Oh, that's not a what if. I think that's a very real possibility.
Yes. I mean, most likely they inserted a chip with like the code of the accent into the voice box of the Australians.
Yeah. So thanks for tuning into our first episode of our podcast. Tune in next week to find out why North Korea is using Pokemon Go to spy on Americans.
See you next time.